Hello, friend, and welcome to the Shannon Blanchard podcast. Today, we're going to talk about hitting 5K months and what you can practically do to make that a reality. Now, this episode is for you if you maybe have hit 5K months before, but it was really sporadic, you've dipped back down, and you are looking to make it sustainable, or maybe you haven't hit 5K months at all yet in your business. And of course, it's something that you are looking to accomplish. Now, one thing that we need to be on the same page about, like you and I, we're making an agreement right now, okay? This is not about hitting 5K months for the sake of it. And after 5K, you're just going to want 10K and then you're going to want 20K. It's the thing that everybody talks about online and constantly just wanting for the sake of it. I am not somebody who encourages just wanting more and constantly chasing after the carrot stick, essentially, right? I'm making this episode today because making $5,000 a month through your business is a really meaningful milestone that is very exciting. And let's be real, $5,000 a month is meaningful money. That's impactful money. So I wanted to create this episode to support you today. If you're on that journey of reaching that milestone sustainably in your business, we're going to talk, of course, as you know by now, if you've listened to any of my previous episodes, you are going to walk away with practical, implementable steps that you can take to move forward in your business and get closer to reaching that goal of 5K months. The first thing I want to talk about is the most foundational, and it's actually the thing that for most people, if they were to implement this solution, it would solve a lot of the problems, especially sales problems that they're having within their business. And that has to do with visibility. Because once you are getting seen, once people actually know that you exist, that is leverage. You can do something with that. But of course, if nobody knows that you exist, nobody is seeing your work, it doesn't matter how much great content you are creating. It doesn't matter how well you can convert if no one's seeing it, right? So visibility is the first thing that you have to focus on and prioritize if you're in a stage of wanting to hit those 5K months. So when I talk about getting seen, getting visible, this is whatever method you use in your business. For most people, of course, that's going to be social media. So posting on Instagram, maybe you're using TikTok, maybe it's your newsletter, maybe you like cold outreach. Anything that is getting you in front of your dream clients is how you're going to create visibility, and you need to get out there and be sharing your message about the impact that you will create in your dream clients' lives, why they would benefit from what you have to offer, what solutions you are providing. Like really get out there and relentlessly speak to that transformation, that beautiful transformation that I know you can provide for your clients. Now, I know when we talk about visibility, this can be a really sticky topic, to be honest. A lot of people tend to have reservations about showing up online. They feel really scared and nervous. Self-promotion can feel really nerve-wracking, and it's also just very vulnerable to talk about your services and talk about helping people, because if nobody responds, nobody bites, it doesn't feel good, right? But here's what I want you to consider and really remember as we have this conversation, because I'm about to share with you the strategy that I use and I'm actually actively using right now to increase visibility. But here's what I want you to remember. If you started your business, and certainly if you clicked on this episode, you're somebody who has big dreams. You have big goals. You want to hit these 5K months. You want to expand your business. And if you are going to make that a reality, you have to honor your full potential and really be accountable to your full potential, which means really becoming ruthless and relentless about showing up, because you are on a mission, and you will be damned if the reason that it doesn't happen is simply because you didn't create enough content on social media, okay? So I know this can feel a little bit sticky, but I know that you can do this. I know you're capable. And even if you feel scared, that's okay. I do things scared in my business all the time. So we're in this together. You can do this. Now let's talk about my 10% strategy for increasing visibility. Like I said, this is something I'm currently using in my business. So I'll talk about how I'm using it right now, but let me explain what the strategy is. So what I want you to do is get out a notebook. You're going to need something to actually write out the whole plan on. So get out a notebook and write down what it is that you are currently doing to create visibility. So every single little thing that you are doing. So I'm posting on TikTok twice a week, or maybe you say I'm showing up on stories every day. I am engaging with dream clients and having conversations with them 4 times a week. Whatever it is that you are doing, write down every single thing that you are doing to get in front of your audience, to get in front of those dream clients. Then once you see on the page what it is you're currently doing to create visibility, I want you to think about what would it look like to increase your efforts by 10%. And I am not speaking analytically 10%, like exactly this many more posts per week or anything like that. I'm talking about feeling out energetically what would feel like just a 10% increase in my efforts. So not going all the way, not going super hard, just a little bit more effort. What would that look like? Maybe you're posting once every other week right now on Instagram and you think, okay, 10% more would feel like 3 times a month on Instagram. You can decide what it looks like, but figure out what that 10% slight increase is going to look like and write that down. That is for week 1. Now what you are going to do is to continue to increase your efforts by 10% at a time, week over week, for a set period of time. When it comes to increasing visibility, I recommend that you set aside at absolute bare minimum 6 weeks to focus on this. A better amount of time, honestly, would be closer to 2 to 3 months. We just have to take into consideration the fact that social media, these kinds of strategies and things, it just takes time. It's typically not something you're going to see an immediate result on. So we want to think big picture, set aside a specific amount of time that's going to work for you, and then map out every single week what 10% more would look like. And especially those first few weeks of this plan, you should feel like you are sort of reserving and holding back a little bit. That is good. That's how you want to feel. You want to feel really amped up, excited, like you could do more, but you are actively holding back, because that is how you are going to create a visibility plan that is sustainable for you. Now, there are a couple different ways that you can use this 10% strategy. The first is to gradually ramp up to a level of output that is long-term sustainable, that you long-term want to keep up with. Or you can also use it for a set period of time to really ramp up your visibility efforts to a level that is unsustainable. Like you can't do it long term, but you're going to ramp up to that level to really make an impact in your visibility. And then you will gradually ramp back down to the level that is sustainable for you. So I do this both ways. For example, last year, I had stopped posting on Instagram completely, to be honest. I was just completely reevaluating what kind of content I wanted to create on there and how I wanted to show up on that platform. Because at this point, I'm showing up on TikTok, my newsletter, Instagram, my stories. Like, I'm in so many different places that I really needed to reevaluate how I was going to show up. But once I felt ready to start creating content again, I knew that I couldn't just jump into creating 4 pieces of content every single week. Like that was going to be crazy. So what I did is at first I actually was just focusing on posting once a week. And I did that for a few weeks to make sure that that was sustainable for me. And then I ramped up from there. So I got to 6 times per month. I increased how much I was showing up on my stories. And I got to a level that is now sustainable for me. And I plan to continue posting that much on Instagram. I'm also using this strategy, however, in the second way that I talked about. So right now, end of March and all through April, I'm not running a round of my program Lucky Day, which is my one-on-one mentorship program. So I decided that I was going to use this period of time to really ramp up my visibility, again, to a level that I don't plan to keep up with long term, but I'm doing it because I've got this time to do it right now. It can really give me a boost. It can help me increase my sales. It will help me with my Lucky Day enrollments, etc. So right now I am focused output as much as I can. I am posting multiple times a day on TikTok. I'm constantly on my Instagram stories. I'm sending newsletters. I've got this podcast that I'm trying to do a couple episodes a week starting in April. So I am ramping up, and like it's a full-time job right now, just working on all of my content and marketing, but I'm actively doing that and ramping up to that for this period of time. And then when I am done, when my next round of Lucky Days starts, which is in early May, I'm not going to drop down to 0. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to gradually ramp back down to the level that is sustainable for me for each platform. So I love using this strategy in my own business for increasing visibility because it's really simple and straightforward, but it's something you can get your hands around, Like if you do want to up your, newsletter to sending 2 newsletters a week, you want to be posting to TikTok 3 times a day, and you want, like, that's so much content, which is great. It's going to help you get seen. But if you put yourself in a situation where you have to figure out how to make all that content all at once, of course, naturally, you're going to burn out. So this creates a roadmap for you where you are going to increase your visibility. It's going to happen, but it's not something that feels unattainable for you. Now, a couple things that I want to say about this, just a word from the wise as a girl who's been posting online for over 5 years now, right? The first thing is that every single time I've done this, where I have ramped up how much output I am producing consistently, my analytics, my engagement will go down at first. And maybe not everybody has that experience, but I have heard that from other people before. You have to keep pushing forward through that period. Give your audience time to adjust, give the algorithms time to adjust. Just push through it. Don't even look at your analytics. Honestly, I don't look at any of that stuff when I'm in this phase. Just stick to the plan, keep posting, because engagement will naturally follow, but you have to just push through the phase where things kind of dip down a little bit. And the second thing I want to talk about is when we're talking about output of any kind, again, newsletter, TikTok, Instagram, I am a huge believer in general that quality is more important than quantity, right? But I also think it's really important to ask ourselves, quality of what? So when I am in this stage where I am focusing on increasing my output, I give myself grace with the quality of the content itself because I recognize that the quality of my output is fantastic. And that's what I need in that moment. I need to increase my visibility. And then once I can sustainably handle that, then I'll adjust and micro adjust the quality of the content if that's necessary. So I want you to just give yourself a little bit of grace. I always tell my students in Lucky Day when they're launching their businesses, I tell them just get content out there. Just get it out there because you have to get the reps in. And the sooner that you get the reps in, the sooner you're going to be better at it. The sooner you hit 100 pieces of content on Instagram, the sooner you're going to be better compared to if you made one perfect post every 2 weeks, right? So give yourself some grace if you feel like your quality sort of slips a little bit with the increased output. You will recuperate and get better with the quality of the content itself. Just give it some time, okay? Now, of course, when you are increasing your visibility online, you have to think about what kind of content you're going to be creating. So if you feel really stressed at the idea of trying to figure out what types of content to come up with, especially as an online service provider who is trying to convert your audience into buyers, let me give you the 3 types of content that you should be making. The first thing is solution-oriented content. This is showing your ideal client how you can solve their problems, how you will alleviate their pain points. The second type of content is desire-based. So think about how your ideal client wants to feel in their business, what they want to accomplish, what goals they want to achieve, and talk about how you can help them accomplish those things. And lastly is trust building. That is the final piece in the puzzle that will actually help you to convert your audience, is when they actually trust you. So those are the 3 types of content that you should be creating. If you need help figuring out how to actually do that and you want to learn the entire process, you can check out my program Infatuated, which is all about creating content that your dream clients will fall in love with. So that first piece alone, just working on increasing your visibility and creating those 3 types of content that are really effective, that is going to do so much to help you get closer to that 5K month. This is a momentary interruption brought to you by my favorite child, Lucky Day. It is my signature business building program. I teach you how to start your business completely from scratch and how to attract those high-paying, dreamy clients so you build a business that you love, that lights you up, and that is truly sustainable for the long term. It is an 8-week intimate one-on-one mentorship experience. You have unlimited one-on-one calls with me, unlimited unlimited chat access to me, as well as over 60 video lessons in the actual online course. So if you'd like to learn more and join the waitlist, I will have the link down in the show notes for you. And with that, back to the program. The next thing I want to chat about is knowing who you are for and who you are not for in your business. Because here's the thing. You can sort of just go out there willy-nilly, not sure what you're doing, land some clients and start bringing in some revenue, right? But if you are serious about getting the 5K months sustainably, that does not happen on accident, right? So part of really breaking through to that level, especially because I find that many people become sort of capped at like 3K months, and they're like, okay, I've been doing this and I'm constantly making $3,000 a month. How can I break through that to the next level? Well, a big part of it is about really understanding who you are serving in your business and speaking to that person alone. So before you are creating any kind of marketing output, a newsletter, a story, a piece of content, I want you to pause and think for a moment, okay, let me refocus. Who is my dream client? Who is the person, my ideal client avatar, that one person that I am here to serve? And how can I show up in this piece of content speaking to that person individually? Now, what's really common, especially in the first 2 to 3 years of business, is to feel a sense of desperation. Like you have to talk to anybody who's willing to listen. Like, please, somebody just hire me. And so what happens is we create messaging that's really broad. It's usually very vague and generic. It doesn't actually talk about any specific transformation that can happen, and it doesn't speak to any one person individually. And the problem with this is that when people see that content, they scroll right on by. They do not care. They don't even look at the newsletter. They don't watch the TikTok, nothing, because it's not ringing a bell in their ears. Nothing is resonating for them. Nothing is getting their ears to perk up and think, oh, that's for me. So first, I want to just encourage you to actively make a promise to yourself to let go of the need to show up for everyone and to be for everyone. I want you to show up for the one person you want to work with. So if we know that speaking to your dream client specifically in your content is what will help you to make sales in your business, how the heck do you do that? I'm so glad you asked. Let me share my process with you. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to sit down and look at each one of your offers or your services individually. And you're going to ask yourself one at a time, what solutions am I providing? Like, how am I actually helping my dream client? The person who I would love to work with, what might they say about the service and why it's so helpful to them, why it's beneficial? Whether it's super simple or it's something really complex, doesn't matter, write it all down. You should have multiple ideas for each one of your services in the way that it's creating a real impact for your dream clients. Then you're going to repeat this process, and instead of thinking about solutions, I want you to think about what you're helping your dream client to accomplish, to achieve. How are they going to feel because of that service? And then what you're going to do is every time you sit down to create a piece of content, you're going to look at your list of all the solutions you're providing, all the desires you're helping your client to achieve. You're just going to pick one off of that list, and you're going to talk about that one. And here's what's great. When you do this, you are speaking directly to your dream client because it's an experience that they are going through. Their ears are going to perk up and actually start to resonate with your content. And because it's based off of your service or your offer, it becomes so easy, literally effortless, chef's kiss, to position yourself as the solution. So you no longer have to say, if you want to increase clicks on your website, a Pinterest manager can help you with that. An SEO, this, a virtual assistant can help you with that. No. Baby, you say, I will help you get more views on your website. I will help you get more clicks on this. I will do it for you. Because it's all based on your services. So this method overall, I'm so passionate. If you can, I talk all the time about your ideal client avatar. I talk about it till I'm blue in the face because it's just, it is so powerful. It will help you so much in your business. You have got to learn who your ideal client avatar is. And this is the thing that when you are ready to reach those 5K months, no more playing around about who you're speaking to, who your audience is. No. Now it's time to be really clear and honed in on this is the exact person I am speaking to. I'm speaking to them only, and I'm going to stop and think about them before every single piece of content that I create. Now we've reached a point where I want to chat about the fact that when we are looking to increase our revenue in our business, it is not simply just about the practical, tactical things that you can do, that you can write it down, check it off the list, and say you did that specific thing. So much of increasing your revenue is about the energetic state that you are in. And there's a million things that I could say about that, right? But here's one of the biggest things that I want you to walk away with. I want you to ask yourself how you can lean more into joy and happiness in your business right now. Because when I look back at the times in my business where I was making the most money, when I finally hit my first 6K month and it was life-changing for me, I was so unbelievably happy. I was so excited, loved the work that I was doing and who I was working with. And that's really such a big part of oftentimes why we want to generate more revenue, is because we believe it's going to help us feel happier, more joyful, more content. Insert whatever feeling is relevant for you, right? So I want you to really contemplate, how can I experience that right now? And how can I release this urgency within me that is telling me I need it now. I am desperate. I have to get sales. Release. It is a process. It doesn't happen overnight, but you can learn how to release that sense of urgency and let in a sense of joy and happiness and contentment with where you are at right now. And when you do, that is what becomes the generator for momentum in your business. That is when you show up in a way that you are excited, aligned, you feel really magnetic, and it works. You are magnetic because you're in that state. That increases your sales, that attracts the right people. Like, that is the thing. When you learn how to not fake it, but genuinely feel right now the way that you think you want to feel in a different timeline, the way that you think you want to feel in the future, if you can genuinely practice feeling that right now, it will transform your life. Because as soon as you feel that way now, you become a magnet for the opportunities, the ideas, the resources. So I know that all of this talk of energetics and feeling these great emotions and stuff, it can sound really fluffy. I know that it can sound like something you walk away and you never think about it again. I get that. You can choose to do that. You can choose to let it go and grind your way to your 5K month, grim and bear it and be miserable if that's what you want. But the reality is, it doesn't have to look that way to get there. The journey to getting to where you want to go can be beautiful, enjoyable, happy. Like, you don't have to wait. There's no reason to wait to feel fantastic. So when it comes to reaching these 5K months, don't let the 5K month be a barrier to you feeling the way that you want to feel. It's just silly, right? Don't ever let money get in the way of you feeling how you want to feel in life and in your business. This was a huge lesson for me when I was really reworking my relationship to money and really healing that relationship. Is I recognized that I had so much anxiety, fear, dread, urgency, this unbelievably stressful, terrible feeling towards money. And I felt this constant weight on my shoulders of like, I have to pay rent and I have to pay for these things. How am I going to do it? Right? But I had to learn to let go of the feeling of stress, because the thing is, the stress, the urgency, the deadline is just an illusion. Like, it can be true that you have to pay rent, but you being stressed about it is not going to help you at all, actually. What's going to be most beneficial for you is for you to be in a good state where then you can think really clearly. You have your best ideas. You have the energy to implement things. You innovate, right? It can be true that you feel really stressed and a lot of urgency about generating more revenue in your business. And at the same time, you can choose to release that stress and urgency and choose to show up from a place of authenticity, from alignment, and from certainty and trust. After you listen to to this episode. I want you to ask yourself and really contemplate how you can lean more into happiness and joy, contentment in your business right now. And I want you to find 3 practical ways that you can do it. So maybe that looks like raising your prices to the rate that you actually want to charge. That would feel good to you. Maybe that means that you refine your service suite and you get rid of the things that you don't actually love, but that you felt like you had to offer. Maybe you add something to your service suite. It's up to you and what that's going to look like, but I want you to find 3 tangible ways that you are going to lean more into happiness and joy, because already that will get you started creating so much momentum towards your first 5K month. All right, my love, that is everything I have for you today. If you are curious, by the way, about starting your own online business and learning how to attract dream clients, scale your business, and build something truly sustainable, make sure to get on the waitlist for my program, Lucky Day. Enrollment is going to be opening end of April. We kick off May 4th. I will have the link for that down in the show notes. And lastly, if you would be so willing, I would love if you would be willing to rate the show, follow, subscribe, like whatever platform you're on. I know that you know what to do. It means so much as I am actively looking to grow this podcast and get it in front of the right people to truly help more young women build businesses that will change their life. So thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.